Steelers signing your guy, Patrick Peterson, and filling the void. Cam Sutton's now with the Lions. Patrick Peterson, the wily veteran, 8-time Pro Bowler, now a Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback. I want to get your thoughts, and we'll go from there about this signing for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Just dealing with Patrick Peterson, of course, everybody know, or now y'all should know that Pat Pete, that's Bryant McFadden, my former teammate, Bryant McFadden, cousin. I remember Patrick Peterson coming down to Coach Tom Shaw at the time. He was in high school. And I'm like, B-Mac, what college does this dude go to? He was like, nah, bro, he's just a senior in high school. I was like, man, this dude body built like LeBron. You sure he's just a senior? Fast forward, him going to LSU, he did what he did. He did what he needed to do at LSU. And then he wound up going to the Arizona Cardinals in his history. So it's just good for me. I wound up texting Pat Pete, like, welcome to the family, bruh. And he gave me a love shout out. But just having a guy like Patrick Peterson, an 8-time Pro Bowler, who's now in his later years in the league, it's going to bring everything Joe Hayden did to that secondary. It's going to bring veteran leadership at the cornerback position. And the guy just went to the Pro Bowl last year. So every time you see Pat Pete, every time I think of Pat Pete, I think of a shutdown corner who has a big frame.
Yes, Ike, 33 years old. And I think you stole my line. I think they'll use him exactly like how they did with Joe Hayden. Keep him on the left side. Most quarterbacks are right-handed. He's coming off a season where he played mostly zone coverage with the Vikings, adept at reading right-handed quarterbacks, tells and tendencies. Playing mostly zone coverage with the Vikings, he can play man as well. But if you could pick up those tells and tendencies, that leads to turnover creation. Patrick Peterson, 5 interceptions in the 2022 season, Ike. That was the second highest total of his career.
Well, you know, they say the more you can do. And I think people forget that Patrick Peterson was an outstanding punt returner. So when you got a corner who can also return punts, they say the more you can do. So that's what he can do, man. He got a lot of tools in his toolbox, but Pat Pete, man, he's a pro's pro. You ain't got to worry about nobody getting in trouble. You ain't got to worry about nobody doing anything off the field that's bad. All you got to do is just put Pat Pete. So he's a play-in guy. You put him anyone in that secondary, you put him in any team, he's going to make it happen. I'm just so glad right now he's with the Pittsburgh Steelers because we definitely was looking for somebody, and we wound up getting the guy we want. And if you listen to Pat Pete, he said he always did want to play with Coach Tomlin.
Yeah, Ike, and when we talked about this during the regular season, he had a game where he intercepted the Bills twice in a game, and it won a close one between Minnesota and Buffalo. He had 2 interceptions in that game. You mentioned his roots coming up when he went to LSU, wearing the number 7 at LSU, to where you got to be somebody if you're wearing that number.
Yeah, you got to be that guy. Honey Badger, Pat Pete. Once you put that 7 on at LSU, you special. You different. You know what I'm saying? You got a God-given talent. And that's Pat Pete, man. I just remember Pat Pete in high school. I was in awe in high school, just seeing the way that dude moved, how big he was, how agile he was. Then him doing what he did at LSU, I was like, man, this dude here for sure the real deal. Now we see what he did in the NFL. But I'm just so glad, Mark, we got Pat Pete to the Steelers. I think it's going to be a good fit. And again, Coach Tomlin, every time you hear about somebody doing the interview with Coach Tomlin, they always say it just feels good. It feels real. So Coach T knows exactly what he's doing, especially when it comes down to the secondary guys coming from Tampa, going to Minnesota, 16 years later for the Pittsburgh Steelers, no losing season. And what's your specialty? The secondary. So it makes sense.
The number 7 at LSU, Ike, is like the cape for Superman. Now, Peterson will wear the number 20 with the Steelers, given the respect for Big Ben, future Hall of Famer and everything, too. I know that was a little bit of it's like a mini controversy in the 412, Ike, but he will wear number 20, just given what 7 means specifically to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, hey, Pat, we love you, but you can't get 7, bro.